And where was that?
Well, most of the time, a lot of times it was up in the stage yet. That was actually the family camp area. Had been for many, many decades. And it's up by Truckee. Go to Truckee, and then you head north out of Truckee. And I was 89. And you go Hobart Mills, which is about 5-6 miles out of town, and then you come across Sage Hen Road. You go to Sage Hen Road. You go back about 6 or 7 miles on this dirt road that was full of chuck holes and all the rest of that.
They had a Hobart, I think, in Arkansas.
Get down over to where the campground was. It was a big campground. Sage Hen Campground. Forest, looked after by the forest, or Forest Service.
Yeah.
And had a little Sage Hen Creek, right there next to the campground, so you had fresh water. You also had spring down just at the bottom of the camp, so you go down and you get spring water. The elevation there was about 7,000. Sage Hen Creek's elevation is about 7,000. And so we'd take over our campsite, circle the wagons, round up a lot of the rocks that had been, spread around. We'd re-round them up and put them up in there for the campfire. The campfire circle was about 8 feet in diameter. It was a big campfire. Well, you had all these people, man. And we burned about a quart of wood a day.
Like how many people?
Okay, 11 families, 22. About 50.
Jesus.
Yeah. Big old it was deer hunting, but it was also family reunion,
Oh, yeah. That's cool.
And everybody had a great time.
We never camped. The only time we ever
We
camped
didn't care
was
if we
like
got
going
any
sailing,
deer.
go to Catalina and go hang out on the beach or something. We went back on the boat and stayed there.
We really didn't care if we got any deer. Oh yeah, we wanted to get deer, but we didn't really care. But we'd get up before dawn, get rolled out of the damn trailers and tents and all the rest of that. This is the guys. The women weren't up. They were sleeping.
Yeah.
And we'd bring out our little air pots full of coffee. Who was it used to make all the damn... Evelyn used to make the dinner rolls. Usually cinnamon rolls or something like that, And we'd have a cinnamon roll and coffee while we're getting, our rifles out and, things packed up and talking about who's going to go where and all the rest of that. And then of course, first guy that gets up before he even starts knocking on the door, if you're the first one up, you take the hoe, you reach it into the fireplace, and you unbury the log that you buried the night before. And then you take a couple of what most people would call a large chunk of firewood for your fireplace. That was almost like kindling there.
Well, that first log stays hot, though, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
It's because it's buried.
Right. so it just smolders underground and it stays hot. You get that big old night log lit, you burn it down a little bit, and then you bury it when it's, nighttime. You bury it in the coals.
Right.
So when you uncover it in the morning, you take anything on there and you throw it on there, and it's all, it's momentary, and then it poof, it bursts into flames. So we'd put, a piece or two of that on there.
Right.
And then we'd split from camp. By that time, the fire had gone down, then, it was kind of coals. We'd go out, get in our spots. You were hunting. When we come back in, we got all these pickup trucks and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Well, we got chainsaws. So we go where all the falling dead was and the rest of that, and we'd load up the pickups. Cut them to about lengths with rounds. And everybody come in with a pickup load of wood. We get into camp. Women would have coffee for us, and they'd start cooking breakfast. Breakfast was around 11.
Because everybody stayed up all night telling campfire stories.
Well, that too. The young ones did. And most of the time I was one of the young ones. But yeah, when we'd start cooking breakfast, and we'd finish cutting up the wood into, some manageable sizes or whatever, and split it, stack it. By that time, there were so many of us there that by that time, breakfast was just about ready. We'd go wash up and we'd have breakfast. Breakfast always consisted of bacon, eggs, hash browns, no toast. Coffee. Yeah, bacon, eggs, and hash browns. That was essentially breakfast.
I went camping once.
Yeah. You found you didn't like it because there wasn't room service.
No, look. Serena goes, hey, because I'd left home at 15, so I had this Italian family that raised me, and Serena goes, hey, and she's a little older than me. She was like 21 or 22 something, and she said, hey, why don't we go to the res? I'm like, what's res? And she said, well, the Indian reservation.
Oh, reservation.
That's where Toodles, her mom, named Toodles, she's passed away now. Toodles lived out there, had a little tiny house, and they got all this free land.
Yeah.
And then everybody helps build a house on your land, all the people around there, and it's just a thing they do, which most of it's all been kind of leased out to the casino out there, to Cabazon, and so they make huge money, get a percentage every month of the intake of the casino, and that's like their rent. It's huge money. But anyway, before the casino, this is way back, like the 70s, late 70s, early 80s, and I guess late 70s, and so she, yeah, let's go to the res, and she didn't have a car or anything, she didn't have a driver's license, all she had was an Indian reservation ID, and so she made calls to people and all that, and she talked this guy into come get us from the reservation out at Banning, which is out in Bakersfield.
I know where Banning is.
And up in Marina Del Rey and Culver City area to come all the way out and come get us. She's like, oh, he'll come get us. I was like, really? It's one thing for one person, but for two, right?
Yeah.
So this guy comes out, and it turns out he's a little bit mentally retarded anyway. Literally. And so he comes out, real nice guy, And he has this old motorcycle with a sidecar on it.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And Serena's like, you get in there. I'm like, oh, hell no, I'm not getting in there. And this thing was so primitive. It had like 2 bars on it, like plumbing bars.
Yeah.
And it was like just barely there. No. And so that's really funny because I'm like, a sidecar motorcycle. I mean, that's like from way in the war days or something. So anyway, she rides a sidecar and I ride behind him on this bike. And I had those, those candy shoes.
Yeah.
They were plastic slip-on, real
Yeah.
pretty little shoes that everybody had with the leather tops that said candies on the side. I was so proud of those shoes. They were like $40 then. That was a lot of money for some shoes. Especially plastic ones that weren't wood. And so I said, okay, where do I put my feet? And he goes, right there. And so I had to put my feet on the muffler pipes.
Oh, shit. Goodbye shoes.
Well, I didn't know. And so it's hours of riding. I think we stopped like one time to go to the loo at this really great place that had turquoise jewelry, which, man, I should have bought stuff because I had money with me. They had all that big, giant turquoise jewelry that's so cool. Yeah. And so then we by the time my shoes were acting funny, and then by the time we got down there, when I got off the bike, my shoes were like totally backwards. The heels had completely melted off. I'm like, what happened to my good shoes? He goes, I don't know, I guess the bike melted them. And I'm like, so now I didn't have shoes because my heels melted off the back of those damn shoes. And so that was really bad. And so then we hung out at Toodles' house for a little bit. Toodles was cooking like some Mexican food and stuff because they were Mexican Italian, so she was cooking like frijoles and junk, and so we had some cool burritos and stuff. And then she wants to pack up for camping day for tomorrow. So she's calling people and borrowing sleeping bags and everything. We went over to that same guy's house that went and got us, right?
Yeah.
He's like, I got extra sleeping bag, and all. We go over there to go get it, and he had it in the floor of one of the rooms in his place, and she goes to pick it up, and like dead rats are rolling out of it.
God damn.
And I'm like, oh man. She goes, it'll be all right. We'll just shake them out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh God. And I'm like, camping, huh? So then, she gets cans of food. And I'm like, I thought you're supposed to, if you're Indian Italian, I thought you're supposed to like live off the land. So she's like, well, So she bought some cans of food so that we could cook that.
Yeah, if you're going to live off the land, you're going to starve to death.
Yeah, pots and pans, all that stuff. So we packed all this crap and, some blankets and that. And then we had a flashlight. One flashlight. So we're riding on the day, in the morning, we decided to ride out there. And Toodles was teasing us about, Toodles was spooky. She's a little tiny woman, but she was spooky to begin with. And she had a really incredible sense of humor. And she's like, well, the ghosts out there, the Indian ghosts that are all buried out there in the hills. And I'm like, huh? And Serena's just laughing like, Mom's crazy, So we got on these horses, and I'm trying to get on this one horse. Serena put the saddles on the horses and everything. And as soon as I tried to get on the horse, and I've rode a lot of horse in my time as a kid, and because my parents used to take us down by Long Beach and take us to the horse places, and you could go ride for like an hour or the whole day or half day or whatever, and then come back and get us. And just like this road, they just drop us off on a Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah, get rid of the kids.
Yeah, and that was great with us. I mean, that was a blast. You can't do it anymore. But yeah, so the saddle's like sliding. I told her, I said, it's not right. The saddle's like sliding. So she gets over there and she got her moccasins on. She goes, kicks the side of that horse, pulls that belt, tightens it up, and goes, okay, that'll work. So we're riding along. We're riding all up in the woods. There's no path, nothing.
Well, you know why you kick her?
She knows.
The horse, don't you?
She's...
so they'll exhale
Yeah.
Because otherwise they will inhale because they don't want that around themselves so damn tight.
Yeah. So anyway, we're riding and going through. There's no trail or nothing, but she's supposed to know where we're going. And really, it's visual pretty much because you know where the hills are. And she's like, "We're going over there." I'm like, "Over there? That'll take 3 days to get there." So we're ride. Finally, after I slid under the horse several times and got drugged for a while, and she thought that was freaking hilarious.
Oh yeah, I laughed.
God, the whole saddle rolled right under the stomach of the horse, and I'm dragging my hair on the ground. And so, anyway, we get up there. Oh, she borrowed saddles too and stuff. Everything was borrowed. So anyway, we get up there, and it's like a vacant ranch, you know.
Yeah.
And and the hills are right there and everything, and it's exactly what Toodles described as the real spooky place where the Indians haunt it and all that crap. And I'm like, oh, here we go. So it's about nightfall. We're getting close to nightfall. Tied the horses up. They had a big, like, a fence, like a corral fence or something. And so we tied them up right there. Figured nobody'd steal them because there's nobody out there but us. And so we start walking around and pick up wood so we can make a fire.
Right. And that fire.
Because she says, it gets kind of cool at night, so we got to make a fire. So, okay. So we're going on picking up all these sticks and walking by the creek and wondering if we can drink from that or not. We don't know where it's coming from. And so, anyway, she starts unpacking and organizing and all that. And laying our bed stuff out. And I'm like, we got to sleep on the ground? And she's like, yeah. We didn't have a tent or anything, just that.
Yeah, just sleep on the ground.
Yep, on the ground. And so, anyway, we get this great pile of wood, big pieces, little pieces, the whole thing. It's really cool. And we got everything cleared away from it, so it doesn't catch on fire because it set the hills on fire. So then she's going, you got matches or a lighter? And I had quit smoking then, so I obviously didn't have anything like that. And so I'm like, no. And she's like, you don't have matches or a lighter? And she says, well, I don't have matches or lighter. And I'm like, well, shit. I said, you're Indian. Why don't you just get, rocks and do it? She got all mad, so we went to go look for rocks. And she's trying to start up a fire with these rocks. That didn't work. Rocks and a twig, some dead grass. We tried everything. And she couldn't make it work. So it was like 8 o'clock at night now. And we're in the pitch black. I mean, it's so black out there, okay? It's like you can't see your hand in front of your face black. And we're at this so-called spooky place. All you see is the shadow of the hill right there next to you. It's just black and black. And it's like, oh, man, you couldn't even see a snake if it was coming. So we weren't game for being in the total darkness, which I was glad because I never slept in the dark in my life. So she says, well, I'll be right back. I'll just go down back to the house and go get some matches.
She'll be right back after you guys riding hours, right?
And she's like, I'll be right back. And so she leaves me there. Okay. And I am about as far from camping in the woods as the Holiday Inn. That's my idea of roughing it.
I know.
So
roughing it's
I'm
no
sitting
room
there,
service.
And God, I think it was about midnight. And this is back when we had wind up watches, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
God. And so it's like midnight, and I'm like, oh my God. She might have been eaten by wolves or something. She finally shows up, and she's laughing her head off. And I was like, man, this is not funny. So, anyway, what happened was, she was going to go home and get some matches and stuff at Toodles' house, in her mom's house. But the only problem is Toodles has such a big mouth that it would be all over the town before we even got back that we forgot the matches. Okay. Yeah. So she decided to go to somebody else's house detour, go over there and go get matches over there or a lighter or something, and then come back hoping that nobody would say anything. But still, when we got back, they were all
Oh yeah,
joking
they're
around.
not going to hide
We
that.
go to the
fact.
corner store and they're like, "Oh, you guys went out camping out there at the sacred ranch with all the ghosts and didn't even bring matches." And it was terrible everywhere we went. But anyway, so she shows up, tells me this big long story. I should go here, there, and everywhere, try to get some matches anonymously. And so she come back, and I think she had matches and a lighter. And so she went to light the fire, which was not easy. It was really hard to make a campfire. It really is.
Okay.
And, well, it is, because wood has to be really, really dry. And it's really hard to light green wood, you know. So, even though we were picking it off the ground, it was still quite green. But finally got it lit, and she got this cool bonfire going. And then we're supposed to go to sleep. And I'm like, I don't know, you know, if that's good. Hopefully the snakes will just go right into the fire and burn. I don't know. So, anyway, we go to sleep, and all these noises. Oh my God, the noises. Noises you couldn't tell what they were. Noises of birds and animals creeping around, and noises. Just noises. It's really hard to sleep. And so finally, I guess I finally passed out. We woke up about daylight. It was cold as hell.
Yeah, you slept for about 3 hours,
Yeah,
right?
probably. It was so cold. And like Serena was the big tough guy, you know, kind of person. And it was like, But then she went to go cook. Now Serena could cook. And she made us like tortillas and some frijoles and some vegetables,
Mom,
some eggs and stuff.
Careful with your foot. They're gonna drop everything in your pocketbook.
And so anyway, she cooked up all this terrific food. Potatoes, everything fried. We ate all that, and then we had to go pack everything up. And then ride back, and still the freaking horse saddle kept spinning around. And the horse is taking off, you know, and just going. And I'm like, you know, my hair's dragging on the ground and freaking out, and she's laughing her head off. I wanted to kick her butt, but you couldn't kick her butt. She was tougher than tough. So
You probably bounce back.
anyway, so, you know, it was interesting. You know, at least we could say we conquered this.
It was an adventure.
Hills. We conquered the sacred hills with the Indian ghosts.
No. You went on an adventure.
There you go.
Jesus. And oh God, it was so funny. And when we got in town, you know, we were like all proud. And then Toodles laughed because she's like, "Well, you're broke in now. You did some camping like the real Indians do and everything, and that was really great." And, you know, it's like, well, I don't.
Well, not quite like the real Indians.
Oh.
She didn't rub two sticks together.
Much as cooking a bunch of pans and canned food.
Yeah.
You
Instead
know.
of on rocks.
That's
Yeah.
like, yeah. I thought you were gonna like be making some maize and flatten out some tortillas and grind them with pestle or something. But yeah, so that was definitely interesting. But would I do it again? No, I would not. I would not.
Just
Would I want
doesn't know how
to
to
delete
enjoy
that part of my
yourself.
life? Well, no. It just happened. It's one of those things you learn by, I guess. But God, was that funny. And just everywhere, after that trip, everywhere, people we visited, you know, that she knew, you know, they know everybody out there
Yeah.
at the Res. Everybody at every house, at every corner, at every store. And everywhere we went to go wherever shopping or go to the store get something, everybody went, "Hey, you guys went camping out there to the sacred hills and forgot the damn matches or some crap." And it's like, oh God. Just everywhere we went, they were laughing at us. It was terrible. But that was definitely interesting. And I think we hitchhiked back, all the way back from San Bernardino to Marina Del Rey to get back. I'm thinking we did. Unless that guy rode us back part way or something. I don't remember. I do remember that the sidecar was unbolting off of the motorbike. And this guy was kind of casual about it, you know, so I was going, "That looks kind of loose. It's rattling more, you know. It looks kind of loose. Like the bar fell off." He's like, "Yeah." I mean, just really, And I was like, man. And Serena kept begging me to ride in that thing. I went, no, and hell no. I'm not riding in that thing. And because it was rickety, man. It was like it was gonna fall off. Can you imagine riding that thing down the expressway, California? Shingo. It would be terrible. But yeah, there was my camping excursion.
But
forget it.
All camping trips are actually an adventure because no two are alike.
That was crazy.
Even if you go to the same campground, no two trips are alike.
Well, you know, and we were probably trespassing too. That's probably somebody's land. We probably could have got shot out there. You know, it wasn't like it was a tourist destination. It was just some stuff that everybody described out in the hills, and the only way to find it was to follow the hills. You know, it was like, ooh, you know, they're probably gold mining out there now. Yep.
Yeah, there were times when we'd be camping. When we'd go camping, we knew we were going into rough area. So we'd load up the 4-wheel drives. There'd be no, that was strictly tent camping. You load up all the stuff in the truck.
My phone's on.
You go up until the road stops and turns into a logging road, and you go up beyond that logging road, and then you're on kind of little trails. It's an adventure. Takes you forever to get there. Then you got to unpack all that shit.
Well, it's one thing about camping, you don't have to really worry how you're dressed or how you're going to look or smell.
Right.
Because you're just out in the open. You can just do whatever.
Everybody's going to smell the same.
Just
coming
be
back.
casual, be whatever, jump in a river or creek or whatever. It's just real casual.
Yeah, and baths are really fun.
I used to love to hike.
Brr.
I used to love to hike all over California. It was fun. Go hike and explore, but not stay overnight. I'm not into that.
Well, hiking to me was a waste of energy.
Well, we had great forests out there, you know, the Yellowstone and all that different stuff. It's some super forests back home in California. You know, I think the one that I liked, the place I liked going the most, I think was like Big Bear Mountain. I used to love to go out there. I worked a job site out there in the winter.
I'm familiar with all that area. I was stationed North Air Force Base.
Ron and I used to go out there. We did a construction job out there in a cabin, a real log cabin. And we'd go party in town at night. My God, it was so freaking cold out there. It was so damn cold. You had to take breaks while you were working because when you can't feel your feet anymore, you got to go defrost because you'll end up with your feet cut off. It's really bad. You get that frostbite stuff. But going out clubbing at night was real fun. Really, really fun. They had a guy playing, you know, when the synthesizer boards and all that came out and all that. He was playing that, doing a lot of Neil Diamond and Billy Joel and stuff. And that was really fun. Go out there and hang out at the little clubs and with all the people. And they were all real nice and everything. It was a real happy crowd. So that was the excitement of the day, was to get through work. Because when the night fell, you couldn't work anymore. And then go ahead into town. That was a big deal. But as long as you couldn't stay all night, because God, you had to be up at daylight to work. You know, I did finish work on that job. Finish work and a little bit of decking. The decking was tough. You have to keep moving to do that deck out there in the snow. But I did finish work inside the cabin doing on the sheetrock and stuff. But he did all, you know, the heavy wood stuff, a lot of the decking, outside stuff. But they were having leaks come in through the logs, and they had to be sealed. And but it was a pretty big cabin. It was pretty wild. You can get me milk real quick.
Yes.
Do you know how long they're going to be there?
They said just go when we get there.
Okay. Let me have milk.
Because they might be on their lunch break.
Okay. But yeah, so Big Bear was always fun. But you were in,
Will you get me a cup of coffee too? My coffee's over
what
on
was it,
Yeah,
that place
table.
you used to hang out all the time that they had the skiing and all that? You liked so much. Salt Lake or something?
No, Tahoe.
Tahoe, Lake Tahoe. Tahoe, I've been there a couple times. That's a pretty place. But you lived up there.
Yeah,
Yeah, I lived up there for a while.
a couple of times. Once when I was a kid, and then later on.
Really?
Yeah. Lived up there about 4 or 5 years at a whack.
Gee. Well, my family was never that country. We just lived in real elite places. Seal Beach, Long Beach, Los Alamitos, Double Island, Huntington Beach, Marina Del Rey.
Been to all those places.
Yeah, real elite. And then
Well,
a
let's see.
couple out of the
My
way
Uncle Max
places.
lived in Seal Beach.
Seal Beach is neat, man.
My Uncle Jim lived in Torrance.
Torrance, California.
Yeah.
That was I lived out there right before I left, out around that way. Torrance, Inglewood.
I was
Torrance didn't
stationed at
have much except
Norton
for
Air
that.
Force Base, which was San Bernardino.
Torrance didn't have much except for the illegal poker hall out there. It was so-called casino. It was all poker stuff.
Like I said, I was stationed at Norton Air Force Base, which was San Bernardino.
Yeah, that's out by the res.
Yeah. My residence.
Bongo, Indian Reservation, Riverside, all that. Oh, let's see, San Bernardino. No, that's out in the valley.
Right.
That's out by Congo Park, Canoga Park, and
No.
and Reseda.
No. San Bernardino's on the east side. Northeast.
Then that's out by Riverside and Barstow
Right.
and all that.
Riverside, Barstow, all that.
Yeah, that's
there.
right. The res, because the res is Morongo.
Yeah.
Morongo Indian Reservation. Now I lived in
So
the
I
valley.
know the
a
hills
few
you're
times
talking
back
about.
home. I lived in the valley a few times out there at Congo, Woodland Hills, all that on the other side. But yeah, that they're just black hills. That they all pointed out. That's like where the Indian spirits are, or some crap. There's a lot of tourist stuff on the way down there on the 405 or whatever it is that goes down there.
Yeah.
All those things you stop off on the side is all Indian stuff, like get your Indian clothes here,
I know what you're
Indian
talking
booties
about.
here, and Indian jewelry and all that stuff. They have them like every 5 miles, and you just have to pick the right one that has the best prices, because it's all touristy. But neat people though down there. As a matter of fact, there were a couple clubs down there. We went to one club down there at Morongo, a nightclub, for dancing and that. But Serena got in a fight with some people, and we had to go before we got killed. She was kind of wild.
Yeah, a lot of the camping I did was up in Sagehead.